Hi everybody, it's Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path. I'll be putting out 3 videos today, 2 before church, 1 after church. And so it's going to be exciting. I just put out, I'm going to let them fight it out to see which ones get the highest reviews, get the highest views. So I just finished putting out an early morning book review on The Woman of Belgardeo, which was, average. And then I have been tagged to do the I Dare You book tag. And I was tagged by Kevin Tells Reads. And I love him. He's got a great channel. I'll link it. And I think everyone has probably done this tag, but I'm going to tag some people anyway. So if you've done it, just know that I love you and I'm tagging you anyway. So this has 20 prompts. And let's get to it. What book has been on your shelf the longest? The Age of Reason Begins by Will and Ariel Durant. And that is because I have never wanted to pick it up and read it. My father loved the Durants. He had all of their books. My youngest son has gotten into Will Durant. He has several of his books. And I want to be into Will Durant. And if you're not familiar with him, it's because, I don't know why you're not familiar with him, but if you are familiar with him, then you are far smarter than I will ever be. Because Mark at Book Ramble, I'm looking at you. You probably read that book about 15 times. Okay. What is your current read, last read, and the book you'll read next? So my last read was Woman of Belgardeo, and my current read, which is the same as the book we'll read next, because I just started it last night, is Josephine Tey's The Daughter of Time. And is it Daughter of Time? Yeah, it's The Daughter of Time. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I just started it last night, but it's really got me hooked. And one of the reasons I wanted to read it is because it's on a list. You know, there's lists everywhere, but it made a list of the 50 best mysteries ever. And so, yeah, I like Josephine Tey, and I haven't read this one. It's not that long, and so I will read that one. It's about the princes in the tower and Richard III. So who doesn't love that? What book did everyone like but you hated? I have to say Little Women. I never really liked Little Women. Now, when the movie came out with Timothée Chalamet, of course, I loved it because it had Timothée Chalamet in it. No, I'm just kidding. I thought they did a great adaptation of the book. It was interesting. It kept on. I didn't find the book itself that interesting. I thought it was okay, but a lot of people like that book, and I just never really got into that book. Okay, let's see. What book do you keep telling yourself you'll read, but you probably won't? The Pickwick Papers. I mean, I like Dickens, and I've read a lot of Dickens, but the Pickwick Papers, and that's something that I'm always like, oh, I'm going to read the Pickwick Papers this winter, the Pickwick Papers this winter, and I just never do it. I don't know why. There's something that must go awry in my brain, but I can always find something more interesting. I mean, not that it's not interesting. I'm sure it's interesting, but I just probably won't read it. What book are you saving for retirement? Now that is a loaded question because that assumes that I am going to retire. And at the rate I'm going with my little brown house in Indian Territory and keeping this little stone bungalow, this little brick bungalow up and moving, I probably will never retire. So I'm going to skip that one. Last page, read it first or wait till the end. Wait till the end. Are you kidding me? Am I a psycho? No, you wait to the end. Acknowledgement, waste of paper or interesting aside. Interesting aside, every time. Love the acknowledgements, love it. Which book character would you switch places with? Oh, Jane Eyre in a moment. In a moment, I would switch places with her. Can't you just see me going down the hallway with a candle and, lusting after the good-looking Edward Rochester, and, hearing the noises in the attic. I heard the noises in the attic, but they were squirrels, and they cost me money. which I don't know why I brought that up. But anyway, let's see. Do you have a book that reminds you of something specific in your life, place, time, or person? Yes. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. That was my childhood. Somebody wrote my childhood. Well, Judy Blume wrote my childhood. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Because I remember all of that. Name a book that you acquired in an interesting way. I think that all of my books I acquire in an interesting way because I go book thrifting and I go to old antique stores, and they'll have books as decorations, but sometimes they're actually fantastic books, and I'll get those, and I always acquire them in a wonderful way. Or my mother will buy me a book and it will come in the mail. Now, see, I don't buy anything from Amazon because I do not support Jeff Bezos whatsoever, but I can't stop her from buying them. But sometimes I don't read them because they're from Amazon. I will admit that. Let's see. Have you ever given a book away for a special reason to a special person? Yes. I remember this distinctly. This, I think, is a really good story. I had a good friend, Donna, and this was when my kids were in elementary school, and she really wanted to get into reading Jane Austen, but she didn't know what to start with. And so I suggested that she start with Northanger Abbey, which is my favorite. That's my all-time favorite, Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey. And so she went out and bought this ratty-ass paperback of Northanger Abbey. And I had an Everyman's copy of it. And it was beautiful, and it was green, and it had silk ribbon, and it had the gold edges and everything like that. And I said, if you're going to read a classic book, it needs to be beautiful. And so I lent her that book and never got it back. So that goes to show you how smart I am. Okay. Which book has been with you the most places? The Red Lamp. I take that with me, like if I go on vacation or something like that, and I have the book that I'm reading, but then I always take the Red Lamp in case I don't like the book that I'm reading, because I know how much I love the Red Lamp. Okay, any required reading you hated in high school that wasn't so bad 2 years later? No, it all sucked. I hated it all. I hated it all. There wasn't one book that we read. Well, I guess Hamlet, but was that a book? It was a play. But no, there wasn't one book that we read in high school that I was like, oh, I really get it now. No, it all sucked. Let's see. Used or brand new? Depends on the book. If a used is more fun, I think, because you sometimes you get that marginalia and everything like that. And so used is more fun. But new, if it's like a classic book and it's something that I want to have as an heirloom book that I want to pass on. Yeah, so like I've got 2 or 3 copies of Jane Eyre that are new, because they're beautiful. So yeah. Have you ever read a Dan Brown book? I don't know exactly why this question is on there, but yes, I've read 2. I've read 2 Dan Brown books. I read, of course, The Da Vinci Code, and then I read, oh gosh, what was the other one? Was it Angels and Demons? The one where they had the eye, sensor that let you in the room. I think that was Angels and Demons, and I love them both. Have you ever seen a movie you liked better than the book? Little Women. I just said Little Women, and I'm going to reiterate it and say it again, Little Women. Have you ever read a book that made you hungry, cookbooks included? Well, there's a little cozy mystery series about a cookbook shop, and I don't remember who did it, but the very first book in the series is called Fudging the Books. And that one, she does a lot of cooking, and it's a little cookbook shop, and it's on the coast somewhere, and it's wonderful, and that made me hungry. Let's see. Who's the person whose book advice you'll always take? There's so many great booktubers out there that I love to watch. I love Philip and Mark and Sinead and Pat and Kevin and Bernie, and I mean, I could just go on and on. Hannah, Jess. I don't think there's any one person that I would always take advice from, but I would take advice from all of them because they all come up with wonderful, Heather, come on. They all come up with wonderful, wonderful books that I've never heard of, that I seek out. Sometimes I read them and sometimes I just learn about them through their videos. Okay, is there a book out of your comfort zone that you ended up loving? Yes, and that was The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule. Was it Anne Rule? Yeah, it was Anne Rule, about Ted Bundy. It was my first true crime, and I've always been a little bit afraid of true crime. I'm still terrified to read Truman Capote's book, In Cold Blood. I'm still terrified to read that, but I really loved The Stranger Beside Me. I really thought that was wonderful. Anyway, I am going to tag a bunch of people, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful Sunday. And like I said, I'll be back after church, dressed a little more appropriately, and I will do the tag that Heather and I brainstormed together. And in the meantime, I will check you later.